Hey there, welcome to your reading. I hope you're doing good. Thank you for joining me. So today's reading is how does the person on your mind perceive you? This could be how you're being perceived in general as well. So yeah, we do have four groups for you to choose from. We have group one, the rose quartz, group two, the blue apatite, group three, the pink tourmaline, and group four, the amethyst crystal. Okay, so one, two, three, and four. If you do want to pause the video so you can take some time to choose your group, go ahead, but I will see you in your readings. Hey, welcome to your reading. If you've chosen the rose quartz, then this reading may be for you. So the person on your mind, or if you're asking in general, how are you being perceived right now? All right. So we do have the Four of Wands reversed, and we also have the Lovers upright. And if the messages don't resonate, then don't try to force it. Maybe it's just not meant for you today. You know. But anyways, so how do they perceive you in their opinion, their mind? But it does feel like you are being perceived as someone who doesn't really care about success. Like it's not really a priority for you, or it could be like, maybe what is typically considered success, stuff like that. One second. Like for some of you, this is you being perceived as non-materialistic or just not really caring much about those things, even if you do care about it. But at the same time, you're seen as really content and comfortable with who you are, with where you are. You're perceived as ambitious, though, even though that seems like a bit of a contradiction. But this does feel like it is referring to a specific area of your life, like for a craft, for example, or responsibility that you have, or in terms of how you maybe push other people. But you are seen as ambitious in a few different ways. But I don't know, this doesn't feel like the typical, success or ambition that people, that might be associated with those words. But yeah, it feels like you're being perceived as having maybe little structure and routine. But at the same time, like even though you're considered as having like not much routine, it feels like you're also perceived as kind of like doing all right for yourself. Like it works for you. And they feel that whatever you're doing is working. For a few of you, they kind of see you as not having family. They perceive you as, disinterested in relationships, whether this be romantic relationship, personal relationships, family relationships. They do acknowledge and see that they may not know you very well, especially if this is someone you're asking about that doesn't, both don't know each other very well. But from their perspective, they do kind of see you as lacking a strong support system, but also they think that you may not work well in a team. Like they definitely see you as super independent. They do see you as someone who does feel disconnected with themselves in a way. They could perceive you as quite emotional. Like they could perceive you as quite chaotic within yourself. But at the same time balanced. So I don't know, maybe they kind of see you as a bit of a contradiction. Maybe, I don't know, there's certain things that they kind of perceive as like not adding up or just being like on two different ends of the spectrum, but somehow, you kind of, I don't know, just whole different qualities that could be in contradiction or a conflict with each other, especially from like the outside looking in. Like for you, it could just be like, like normal, like it is what it is, who I am. But from their perspective, yeah, they could see you as quite balanced, in a lot of ways, but at the same time, like quite chaotic in other ways, you know? Anyways, I hope that made sense, but yes. So you're also perceived as someone who doesn't or can't finish what they start. Maybe, let me see. For some of you, this is because they kind of feel like you have a lot of distractions, or maybe you get quite distracted. Again, in their perspective, in their opinion, especially if they don't know you that well. And again, only take this if it resonates, but for some of you here, they think of you as someone they don't really get along with or wouldn't get along with. They could feel as though there is some friction between the two of you, you know, even if it isn't like obvious, like they could feel it. Um, for a few of you, they perceive you as, again, like take this if it resonates, especially if you don't know this person very well and they don't know you very well, they could perceive you as married, but maybe separated, or for whatever reason, you live at a distance from your husband or your wife, even if you aren't married. Especially if you come across as not interested in relationships, you know, they could feel like you have someone there, but maybe you just don't live together, or for whatever reason, you live at a distance from each other. Like, there's this quote. It's like, I'm single, but you would think I'm married, like by the way I avoid people. So for some of you, they perceive you that way. But they do kind of see you as someone who doesn't really ask for much. You're quite a simple person who maybe lives a quite like a simple life. They also see you as very good to someone in your life. It could be a friend, it could be a child, a family member. But it does feel like a specific person. They also see you as quite friendly. They also perceive you as being extremely loved and adored by someone. Again, this does feel like a specific person. So maybe it's the person that came out just a second ago, and the person that they kind of perceive you as being very good towards, and they kind of perceive this person as adoring and loving you. But they do see you as someone who has had to make some tough and major decisions in their life, maybe in regard to your stability. It kind of feels like they perceive you as having made, or you had to make, some major sacrifices as well. You're also perceived as romantic and very sexual as well. They also feel very sexually attracted to you. How do they perceive you? How are you being perceived? That's come out twice now, so I'm just going to take this one. So I'll just leave it here for now. Alright, so how are you being perceived? So the first one that came out, this one came out a few times. I put it back when I first saw it because it came out with another card. But it says, you look like a mess. And at the back it says clean yourself up. I'm going to see what that's about though. One moment. How are you being perceived? I have to like clarify, it doesn't feel like they perceive you as like a shit show or a mess. When I was clarifying that, a no came out every single time. So that's not what the message is about. At the back, it does say clean yourself up, and it doesn't feel like they perceive you as someone who needs to clean themselves up either. For some of you, though, this could be more so in terms of your stability. Like they feel like, or they perceive you as either focused on your stability or needing to focus on your stability. So we also have whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. Now is not the time. How do they perceive you? So the message with this card is that they kind of perceive you as holding yourself back in some way. For some of you, they could feel like you are holding yourself from being successful or kind of moving forward in certain areas of your life. They could feel like you're holding yourself back. That was clarified by the Nine of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. So it could be in terms of like, maybe financially, or, things that would bring you more stability, more security. Like earlier we were talking about you not being ambitious in the typical sense of success, whereas they kind of perceive you as maybe, again, in their perspective, needing to be more focused on the material side of things. So we also have take a shot. So they may actually perceive you as someone that they haven't really been fair with, because it feels like they see you as someone they need to take a chance on, or that, they should be more open on taking a chance, or, taking a shot with you. Yeah, so they feel like they have been judging you too much, or judging you unfairly. Especially if like the way you live your life is very unconventional, so they could have a lot of misconceptions, especially from the outside looking in, about you. And not finally, I'm going to pull some more cards, but we also have you are talented and amazing. That was clarified straight away by the Magician, actually. So they do feel like you are very talented. They could feel like you have, let me see. They could feel, perceive you, sorry, as very creative as well. For some of you, maybe good, like really good with your hands. All right, so how are you being perceived? We have worried. So it feels like they're not necessarily currently worried about you. I mean, they're kind of like iffy about whether or not they should be worried about you, but it feels like they perceive you as someone that they would have to worry about. Especially if they were to kind of move forward with you and you were to move forward with them, they feel like they would have to worry about you quite a bit. So we also have conservative. It doesn't feel like they perceive you as conservative or traditional. So that was actually clarified by the Ten of Pentacles. I had to pause. But it feels like they kind of perceive you as someone who would maybe benefit, again, in their opinion, of being more conservative or trying to live a more traditional, conservative lifestyle, you know? So we also have mercurial, unpredictable. So they do perceive you as a bit of a risk taker. Unpredictable in ways. We also have harsh. So they do perceive you as someone who can be kind of harsh. Like again, like there's that contradiction because it feels like in some ways they perceive you as quite soft, quite gentle, but at the same time, like there's certain things about you that is quite harsh, that is a bit rough as well. So I don't know, it feels like they have like a bit of a conflicted perspective of you. We also have casual. So this casual is coming out as like low key, so they could perceive you as low key in certain ways. And finally, we have independent. Did that message come out earlier? I'm not sure. But anyways, they do perceive you as very independent, especially in terms of your mentality, the way you think, the way you live your life. Especially if some of you don't have that support, if you don't have family, they could feel like you have to be very independent, you know? But anyways, like that is all I have for this group. I do hope it could resonate or not, be helpful, make sense. But I am wishing you the best. All right, please take care. Bye. Hey, welcome to your reading. If you've chosen the second group, the blue appetite, then this reading is for you. Okay, so the person on your mind, how do they perceive you, or how are you being perceived in general, right? So we do have the Nine of Wands and we have the Five of Pentacles. So you know, similar message to the first group. If the reading doesn't resonate, then maybe it's just not for you today. But please only take what resonates, what makes sense, you know. But anyway, so the person on your mind, how do they perceive you, or how are you being perceived in general? All right, so it feels like they perceive you, or you're being perceived as very hardworking. They do see you as drained and kind of putting in a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you know, they definitely perceive you as having a lot of demands on you and dealing with a lot of challenges. They think that you look super tired these days as well. Um, they see you as incredibly strong as well and determined to maybe turn your life around. Like maybe you're kind of working your ass off in order to get something, or maybe to pay for something or to help someone else or to, improve your stability some way. Let me see something actually. But they do feel like maybe this is something that you've been dealing with for a while, or you still got a ways to go before you come out of this tough or draining energy. But they do perceive you as stable. They do think of you as cautious and quite guarded right now. This could be in general as well, actually. They definitely see you as not having an easy time, but at the same time, like, they definitely perceive you as not giving up easily. This could actually be about something or someone specific, especially if you are asking about someone, the person you're asking about. They could see you actually as wanting to make it work with them, regardless of how difficult it can be at times. So they perceive you as kind of like living a life of duty and, not necessarily like fun and kind of, carefree. They definitely feel like you're living a life where you have to do what you have to do, maybe like maybe even survival, even for some of you here. It feels like as well like they perceive you as living your life for other people. They do see you as needing help, needing support. They do feel that, even though they feel like you being drained could be, something that, may happen for, not happen for a while, but you may be in that energy for a little while longer. They do feel that you are very close to a breakthrough, but that breakthrough doesn't necessarily mean your hard work stops, in their perspective at least. But yeah, they perceive you as having had a tough past. They also think that you could be struggling to take care of yourself or to take care of your family, or kind of like balancing work with other responsibilities. They do kind of perceive you as nearly reaching a goal though. And if you did ask about a specific person, they perceive you as learning from your shared past with them. They definitely kind of perceive you as wanting a different life. Like, they think that you want a different life. But, even though they feel that you have that perspective, whether it's true or not, they, perceive you as remaining focused regardless. They do perceive you as having a difficult time financially. Um, Maybe they kind of feel like you're experiencing a lot of setbacks in that area, or you just have a lot of money going out. They also kind of perceive your relationship with them in the same way, as having experienced a lot of setbacks. They kind of feel as well that you may be feeling quite lonely, like they do perceive you as quite lonely or quite isolated, or maybe alone in your problems and your challenges. Like, there's no one else that can maybe take certain burdens off of you. But at the same time, they do feel like you are like this soldier. They do feel like, you're still growing, you're still pushing forward, you're still healing. But they just know, like, they're so confident that you will turn your life around for the better. They definitely feel like you will experience some blessings soon, some positive changes. So they do perceive you as feeling kind of left out, um, maybe feeling isolated as well. So yeah, they could feel like you don't have a lot of help or don't have a lot of support. Again, you don't. have a lot of people that could maybe kind of take certain pressures off of you. It feels like for a lot of you here, they could perceive you as needing their help financially. Let's see what else we have. How do they perceive you? How are you being perceived? So how are you being perceived? We have they broke your heart. So for a lot of you here, it does feel like you are being perceived as kind of depressed right now. Is this something that, no. They also perceive you as quite heartbroken. Like they kind of just feel like you've been hurt a lot. So we also have stop talking, be quiet and listen. Let's see what that's about. How do they perceive you? So they could perceive you as actually not wanting to communicate with them. They could perceive you as maybe lessening communication with them, maybe not talking to them as much as you used to talk to them or want to talk to them, or they want you to talk to them, sorry. But they do actually kind of see you as someone they want to talk to you. Like if lines of communication between you both haven't been open, they definitely want to open that back up. So we also have take a shot. All right, so they actually perceive you as someone that they need to take a risk on, that they need to take a chance with. And let me see something. For some of you, this could actually be in terms of reaching out to you. Like maybe they feel like it is a risk reaching out to you, or like a shot in the dark. But they feel like they need to take that shot regardless. We also have detox. So they do perceive you as someone who needs to detox. Maybe, let me see. Kind of like take care of yourself, you know, and it feels like they do understand that it may not be that easy for you. They could also perceive you as having like unhealthy or unhelpful people in your life that you may benefit from kind of removing or kind of just lessening like contact with them. So this card came out with the last group as well. It says you look like a shit show. But that wasn't the message that came out for the last group. So I'll see what it is for this group. You know, it doesn't feel like they perceive you in like this negative way, as in like you look like a shit show. They definitely perceive you as tired though. Like they definitely perceive you as drained. But again, like they're not kind of saying it or thinking it in a negative way. If anything, they actually admire what you're dealing with. And you know, it feels like with the Wheel of Fortune coming up to clarify, it feels like they actually are kind of praying or very hopeful that you can turn things around for yourself, you know. Like, this person is not a hater. It doesn't feel like they're a hater. It feels like they don't revel in you being in unpleasant energy or dealing with unpleasant circumstances. It feels like they're praying for you, like they're rooting for you. But anyways, finally, well, I'm going to pull some more cards, but we also have What the Hell Are You Waiting For? Get that ish done. So how do they perceive you? So this is, they feel or perceive you as being incredibly patient with them. Yeah. Does feel like they're very grateful though of you being patient with them. How are you being perceived? We have harsh again. That came out in the last group too. Okay, so this doesn't feel like you and how they perceive you, but kind of the circumstances that you're dealing with. They definitely perceive you as going through some, you know, either really harsh things, heavy things. For some of you, this is related to your past as well. So we also have complex. So they do view you as quite a complex person dealing with a complex situation, you know. They do feel like you're quite complicated and like difficult to understand or difficult for them to figure out. So we also have opportunistic. So they perceive you as needing to be more opportunistic in certain ways. It just feels like they see you as struggling, so they kind of want you, or they kind of want for your situation to change in a way where like you get more for less energy. Like, for example, you're working your ass off, right? And maybe you're not getting a lot for that. And they kind of want it to be the opposite, where you're kind of not working as hard, but you're getting more, you know, in terms of, in terms of what you're receiving, whether this is in terms of money or, you know, but yeah, it does feel like they want you to be more opportunistic and kind of, yeah, I hope that makes sense. So we also have impartial. So they actually perceive you as not picking a side. Let me see. It does is when it comes to them. I mean, they could just perceive you as not maybe getting involved. Maybe kind of like trying not to have an opinion or kind of getting involved with like two different sides, whether that be on, you know, in terms of arguments, in terms of a conflict, or just kind of being Switzerland and kind of staying out of things, you know. So yeah, that's how they perceive you. We also have independent. So they do perceive you as independent as well. And finally, we have enigmatic. So they do perceive you as quite mysterious, maybe secretive. Again, not in a bad way at all. Maybe just keep things close to your chest. But at the same time, like they perceive you as very charming in ways too. But anyways, that is all I have for this group. I do hope it can resonate or not, make sense, be helpful. But I am wishing you the best, all right? Take care of yourselves. Hey, welcome to your reading. If you've chosen the second group, the pink tourmaline, then this reading is for you. Okay, so the person on your mind or people in general, how do they perceive you? Okay, so we do have the Queen of Wands in reverse. We do have the King of Swords in reverse as well. All right, before I start waffling, I'm gonna just clarify a few things. And again, like if these messages don't resonate, maybe the reading is just not for you today. Maybe it's for someone specific who needs to hear the messages or what have you. Could be a form of projection, but yeah. But please don't take any offense to anything that comes out of my mouth, all right? But anyways, let me clarify a few things. Okay, so yeah, again, just if it doesn't resonate, then disregard the message entirely, all right? But anyways, so it feels like either in general or a person that you're asking about, they perceive you as a bit mean and a bit unfriendly right now. They think that you don't care or know how to talk to people. And this may not even be that you don't know how to talk to people. Maybe they kind of feel like you don't really care about how your words or how your tone or what have you, the way you communicate comes across or how it affects people. So maybe you do know how to talk to people, but not in a necessarily in a way that people like or they like. They kind of see you as not having the best intentions towards people, towards them. They do perceive you, again, in their opinion, as like kind of insecure. They kind of perceive your lack of confidence as maybe one of the reasons as to why you treat them or other people like poorly in their opinion. But they do perceive you as like wanting or that you like compliments and attention, maybe in general actually. But they feel like they have to walk or would have to walk on eggshells around you. They do perceive you as a bit negative, and as someone who needs a lot of validation from them, but also other people. They also kind of perceive you as someone who isn't very liked, or, they just feel like a lot of people have an issue with you. They perceive you as kind of touchy, maybe a bit sensitive. They do kind of think you push people away. Like they could feel like you do this both unintentionally and intentionally. But they kind of do perceive you as very controlling. This could be mostly about yourself though, as opposed to, being controlling of other people. Maybe they feel like you are overly controlled in how you act, how you carry yourself, in your interactions with people. Like they definitely perceive you as someone who definitely tries to portray or come across a certain way. They definitely perceive you as well as someone who wants respect, and maybe they feel like you act in a controlled way so that you can gain that respect, but they feel like it just doesn't translate into respect. But the way you carry yourself, the way you act and interact with people, they feel like that's a cause for the disconnect between you and either a certain people or a certain group of people. but they do perceive you as, wanting to be heard. They see you as someone who likes to gossip. They also think you're jealous of them in some way. They see you as intimidating, not very respectful of people or them. They do perceive you as very demanding. They do think of you as irresponsible, possibly financially, and they do perceive you as someone who kind of keeps people in their life to boost their own ego. Maybe that you only keep people around you who benefit you or people who kind of gas you up. But yeah, they do perceive you as someone who does feel the need to have control. They perceive you as someone who has a lot of power, but you don't use it responsibly, you don't use it wisely. They also think you like conflict, whether that be with you and other people or kind of watching that conflict unfold between other people and kind of seeing other people fight with each other. They see you as a bit unfair and biased, and I don't know. I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse now, so I'm just literally gonna stop here. I'm gonna pull some more cards though. How are you being perceived? I knew that card was gonna come out. I just knew it. That's hilarious. How are you being perceived? Okay. Okay, how are you being perceived? It says get out of your head and get into your heart. It misses you. Yeah, so they do perceive you as someone who needs to get out of their head, maybe, and get into their heart space a bit more. Yeah, so they could perceive you as someone who doesn't really have much empathy. So we also have shit is about to get real. And behind it, it says you need your people behind you. So they do perceive you as, if you're not facing challenges and pushbacks right now, they definitely think that you will, maybe because of, certain things that they feel that you've done. So this is the card that I knew was going to come out, and it says you are loved. You are here for a reason. Don't mess it up, is what it says on the back. So they, do you know what? They actually do perceive you as loved, liked. Again, like it could be by people who, I don't know, like I don't know if you even resonate with what's been said so far. But they feel like the people who do connect with you and the people who do resonate with you, they feel like these people really like you. They feel like you're adored by these people. But another message that's coming out is that they kind of perceive you as maybe thinking, like you think that you're more loved than you are. That sounds horrible, actually. Like that was clarified by the Seven of Wands, King of Wands. So I don't know, they could feel like, I don't know. It's like, like the Mean Girls movie, how the Mean Girl, like, even though she could be well liked, or, she's perceived as well liked, it's like people kind of dislike them at the same time, so I don't know. They could perceive you as, I don't know, like similar energy to that. Or it's like you think people think they love you, but really they may not. Anyways, so we also have whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. So for some of you, they perceive you as needing to chill out, maybe thinking before you act. We also have eat your veggies. So they perceive you as needing to do better. They perceive you as needing to be better, again, in their opinion. For some of you, they do kind of perceive you as maybe needing to eat healthier as well for your own benefit. And finally, I'm going to pull more cards actually, but we have take a trip. So they perceive you as someone who actually needs to kind of put themselves out there, maybe in different environments, maybe, experience some new stuff, maybe take a trip, maybe take a break. For some of you, that they just kind of feel like you need to chill out and maybe stop overthinking and stuff like that. How are you being perceived? We have supportive. So you're actually being perceived as maybe supportive of certain people in your life. For some of you, they do feel like you just do it for show. They don't feel like it is genuine. But again, in their opinion, their perspective. We also have mean. So they do perceive you as a bit mean. We also have individualistic. So they definitely perceive you as someone who either tries to stand out, who is individualistic, who tries to be individualistic. We also have proud. So they do perceive you as someone who's very proud. For some of you, this is in a way where like they perceive you as kind of taking pride in yourself, or you just have a lot of pride in yourself, pride in the things that you do. We also have frank. So you're definitely perceived, clarified by the Queen of Wands, as someone who maybe just says it how it is. Like, yeah, kind of blunt. Finally, we have casual. So they do perceive you as quite relaxed, but this feels like it's in relation to how like other people see you. For some of you, this could be about empathy and they feel like you're quite relaxed in regards to your empathy. That was Five of Swords, and Two of Swords came out as well. So I don't know if they feel like you're quite relaxed about conflict as well. Or maybe making hard decisions for some of you. But anyways, that is all I have for this group. Again, if it doesn't resonate, just disregard it and keep it moving, really. But I'm wishing you the best, right? Take care. Hey there, welcome to your reading. If you've chosen the fourth group, then this is for you or not. We'll see. But yeah, the last three groups have been kind of heavy, so let's see what this one is about. We have the Chariot in reverse. We also have the Three of Swords in reverse. So again, if any messages don't resonate, just reject the reading. So how are you being perceived, either in general or by someone that you could be asking about? Okay. Oh, so the person on your mind, they do perceive you as someone they have to be patient with. They do feel as though they may have failed you in some way. They think that you don't want to control them, and they've also don't want to control you either. They perceive you as hardworking and a bit of a perfectionist. They do think that you can have a bit of a short temper at times as well. They could also perceive you as, let me see. For some of you, they could perceive you as giving up on them. Maybe this could be giving up on something else or someone else. But especially if you were super focused on this person in the past, they definitely think that you aren't that focused on them anymore. Yeah, they definitely think that you're not taking action towards them or making much of an effort with them right now. But let me see. No. They've definitely noticed, though, that you aren't paying as much attention to them. They perceive you as trying to hurt them, actually, or trying to get a reaction out of them. They do see you as strong and dedicated. They think that you are very creative as well, and they perceive you as a bit difficult and a bit of a challenge for them. They do kind of think that you were very patient with them in the past. They may even think you are or would still be patient with them, whether this is, true or not, but they do feel like you would be or you are. And, even though you could be frustrated with them, even though you may have given up on them, they feel like you're still patient with them, They do perceive you as a good communicator. And they do think of you as a source of healing for them. Like they do view you as very healing for them. I don't know, there's two messages coming out for some of you. For some of you, they feel or perceive you as not letting go of them. For others of you, they perceive you as letting go of them. So even if you may not be talking to them right now or paying them much attention right now, they feel like, you're still holding on to them, like they still have you, and like they could feel as though like this things will turn around between you both eventually. So yeah, they perceive you as not letting go of them despite the ups and downs. They do kind of see you as a bit insecure. This doesn't really feel like it's in general though. Maybe when it comes to them, or maybe about something more specific that you could be aware of. But they do kind of perceive you as recovering from very difficult circumstances, possibly, putting a conflict behind you. They do see you as a bit sensitive, possibly when it comes to them. They could also perceive you as struggling with your health, perhaps currently, or this is something that you unfortunately, have to deal with or had to deal with for some time. But when they do think about you, they do think about how they've portrayed you, but they also perceive you as having accepted the history between you two, accepted certain things that may have gone down between the two of you, especially if there was a betrayal involved, Three of Swords. It could be referring to a third party situation. Yeah, so maybe they do feel as though you have accepted it, have moved on, um, but they kind of do perceive you as someone that they want to compromise with more. Um, they also feel that they need your forgiveness still. Okay, so how are you being perceived? We have it's not everyone's fault, it's yours. You're a grown adult. Stop blaming other people for your nonsense. Let me see. So for some of you here, they do perceive you as trying to blame them. They perceive you as not taking accountability. But this doesn't really feel like it's in reference to them. They do feel like it is in reference to other areas of your life. For some of you, this could be career with all these Wands cards that's coming out. It could be in terms of something creative as well. We also have you are talented and amazing. The world needs your voice, your power. Don't use it for dumb stuff. So for some of you, they do perceive you as maybe not using your power, your talents, your resources in the best ways, again, in their opinion. So we also have you are going through some tough stuff. They do perceive you as going through a tough situation. Again, like this could be health-wise for some of you. But they do feel like you're dealing with it, even if it is kind of like difficult or challenging. So we also have apologize. Yeah, so they definitely perceive you as someone they need to apologize to. They kind of just feel like they need to keep the peace with you, get back on friendly terms. For some of you, maybe they feel like they need to apologize so that maybe in social situations that things will be quite chill between the two of you. We also have whatever you're thinking about, don't do it. Again, like the hermit with the message that came out earlier, I think as well. Could have, but they do feel as though they need to be patient with you. Like they could be thinking of things that they want to say, thinking of things they want to do, but they definitely feel like they need to pause, wait it out before they take any action towards you. And finally, we have laugh. I'm going to pull some more cards, but with these cards, we have laugh. So they actually perceive you as someone who shares their sense of humor, someone that they could have a laugh with. They also perceive you as quite funny in general. So how do they perceive you? How are you being perceived? Okay, we have serious. So you're definitely being perceived as being in a more serious energy these days. So we also have loud. So they also kind of perceive you as being more serious and maybe strict and maybe kind of a bit cool with them. So they do perceive you as loud, they do perceive you as confident. For some of you though, this is in terms of like aggression. They could feel like either that you would be loud with them or it has a potential for like an argument to happen between the two of you. So we also have inhibited. So they don't perceive you as inhibited, but they kind of perceive you as someone that they would need to be inhibited around. Like they kind of perceive you as like, okay, if I'm in your presence, then I need to kind of be more reserved, more chill. Like don't act up or, don't cause any unnecessary drama or put any unnecessary attention on myself. We also have impartial. So they actually kind of perceive you as not impartial, especially when it comes to them. Like maybe they perceive you as impartial, definitely maybe in general when it comes to certain situations, like leave me out of it. But when it comes to them, they definitely perceive you as not impartial. We also have stubborn. So again, like they don't perceive you as stubborn in general, but maybe where it concerns them, they definitely perceive you as being maybe stubborn. And finally, we have victim. So again, like they don't perceive you as genuinely like maybe like playing a victim. It doesn't feel like that at all, but it does feel like they perceive you as someone who has like genuinely been a victim, maybe through their actions or other people's actions. You know, but if that is the case, then they could feel like you are still holding on to that for sure. Um, you know, even if you're not holding on to it, like they feel like, you know, once the scar is there, like you can't, it's not easily removed, you know, so it's still always going to be there, even if you have let the incident go, if that makes sense. But anyways, that is what I have for this group. I do hope it could resonate or not. But I am wishing you the best, right? Please take care.